Chapter 1241, 1241 The Look of the Starry Sky, 1. 1241 The Look of the Starry Sky, 1. Under the lead of the World Tree clone, the 8 guests from the starry sky followed it to the blue planet and descended on Inatella. When they transmigrated to the atmosphere, the 8 guests from the starry sky immediately sensed that their strength was suppressed. Among them, the golden-haired and blue-eyed man who contracted the angel said, "In such a broken world, I'm afraid they can't even cultivate a slightly powerful demigod, let alone a divine being. I feel that any battle on this planet will cause the color of the world to change, causing an impact worldwide. Cut it out. Don't you know that the mother planet is still recovering?" The angel with platinum wings said elegantly, "If the mother planet can nurture an expert like Master God, then after its recovery, it'll surely ascend to become an advanced planet." Sorry, Lord Blue Planet, I didn't mean anything else." The golden-haired man scratched his head with a smile. In theory, the Blue Planet was the mother planet of the angel race, but it wasn't his. He was only a descendant of the cosmic human race who joined the angel race later. Blue Planet was considered a relative. After enduring countless hardships, he finally arrived on the Blue Planet. He originally wanted to spar with the powerful beings from his mother planet, but it seemed better not to. Setting aside whether this place was suitable for battles or not, under such fragmented laws, it was unlikely that any strong beings could be cultivated here. "Lord Blue Planet, if you can contact the World King Planet, there might be a way for you to accelerate your restoration," the female succubus said with a faint smile. However, she couldn't help but wonder in her heart whether they could truly find any geniuses in such a low-level planet system back in their own clan. She felt that she could defeat all the invincible people on Blue Planet alone. Apart from the Blue Planet will clone in front of her. The World Tree was still strong. Even if a top-notch god suppressed it to the demigod level, they might not necessarily be its match. After all, its main body was the Blue Planet itself. The World Tree clone sighed, feeling rejected. At the side, the mature woman with long black hair and the Phoenix man who had contracted the star Phoenix were relatively calm. To be precise, the 2 of them, including the sacrificed teammate, weren't on the same team as the other 2. The 3 of them were followers of the human faction established by the Space Emperor and Lin Feng. Although their pets came from the Dragon, the Phoenix, and the Kirin races, and both parties were in an equal contract relationship, they were still led by humans this time and mainly came to help Dong Huang. As for the other 2 parties, they came from the Blue Planet's angel race and the demon race. They were led by transcendent lives, and their goals were different. "Lord Blue Planet, I wonder if Dong Huang, the hometown of teacher and Lord Lin Feng, is all right?" Zilan, the captain of the few of them, asked. The World Tree clone said, "Dong Huang is developing very well." Zilan heaved a sigh of relief. This way, after their teacher and Lord Lin Feng learn about it, they should be able to relax. Inatella. Shiyu and the 7 gods sleeping here looked at the 8 experts brought by the World Tree clone in a daze. Just now, they had already learned from the World Tree clone that the newcomers weren't enemies. Instead, they were the Blue Planet's experts who left and ventured into the universe, eventually returning with knowledge of the universe's starry sky. Oh? After this group of aliens descended to Inatella, they also observed the awakened gods of Inatella curiously. "Let me introduce you." The World Tree clone immediately introduced themselves to each other. First, it introduced the origin of this group of aliens again, and then it introduced the sleeping gods. This made the group of people sigh. Sealing and slumbering truly turned out to be an effective method, allowing them to survive for so long. The ancestral dragon, Yuan Feng, and the top divine ancestors who had left the Blue Planet were all dead. However, this group of low-level gods was actually still alive. This is Shiyu. At the moment, he's the strongest beast tamer on the Blue Planet and is also from Dong Huang. He's currently cultivating with me. The World Tree clone introduced Shiyu, who immediately attracted everyone's attention more than an awakened god. This was because they knew that those who remained on the Blue Planet were only junior gods, and the divine skills they had mastered during their peak were only entry-level. Perhaps even in their prime, they might not be able to defeat those who ventured out. Apart from having a bit more experience, there was nothing else worthy of attention. They were all at the bottom of the mythical era. They were different from the beast tamers who could become the strongest beast tamers on the blue planet in the cultivationless age. One was the last tier of an era, and the other was the top tier of an era. Obviously, the latter was more worth paying attention to. Especially since Shiyu looked so young. Moreover, he also came from the same country as the Space Emperor and Lin Feng, shocking everyone. Not to mention these guys, even the ancient god Golden Bull and the other gods were shocked. They looked at Shiyu and wondered when he had become the strongest beast tamer on the blue planet. Not long ago, wasn't he only the strongest in the younger generation? However, when they thought of this kid's terrifying talent and the favorable opinion of the World Tree, they came to terms with it. Only the ancient god Golden Bull fell into deep thought. Why does it feel like this guy's growth speed is faster than my restoration? You're from Donghuang? The long-haired mature sister, Zilan, looked at Shiyu, who wore a shy expression and had a cute panda lying on his shoulder, with a very surprised expression on her face. She remembered that Lord Lin Feng had told her that the ruler of Donghuang should be a mechanical old man named Divine Source. Moreover, Divine Source Legendary couldn't be considered the #1 beast tamer on the blue planet. She didn't expect that after 100 years, the blue planet and Donghuang would have already undergone such a huge change. Sister, are you Senior Space Emperor's disciple? Hello, I've been looking up to Senior Space Emperor for a long time. I'm still good friends with the second team pet, the Void Mantis, that Senior Space Emperor left on the blue planet. I also know some of the descendants of Senior Space Emperor, Shiyu said warmly. Chapter 1242, 1242 The Look of the Starry Sky, 2. 1242 The Look of the Starry Sky, 2. This is great. Prediction Owl, you're the best. Emperor Kong and Lin Feng are really still alive. They even sent someone back to the blue planet. Shiyu felt that they definitely had the method to use the teleportation keystone. Tears welled up in Shiyu's eyes. The experts who left Blue Planet finally sent someone back. He felt that once he gained their support, he could venture into the universe fearlessly and accomplish great things. It was awesome. He was long tired of playing on the Blue Planet. If it weren't for the fact that he had a parallel space to go to, he would have died of boredom. Really? Then you have to bring me to see them later. Zilan smiled. She didn't expect that the top expert on the blue planet would be someone as young as them. She thought it would be an old man. No problem, Shiyu said. The Space Emperor's disciple, Zilan, was very happy. Having just arrived on the blue planet, hearing such good news was undoubtedly a huge gain. This time, apart from the main quests, the Space Emperor also told her a bunch of things about his past on the blue planet. She also knew about the Void Mantis, but she didn't expect it to still be alive. Teacher will definitely be very happy to hear that the Void Mantis is alive. Little handsome, I feel that you're only in your 20s. You've become the strongest beast tamer on the blue planet at this age. How exaggerated. The person with a contracted demon had a beautiful face like a demon and was a charming woman. She gave Shiyu a flirtatious glance and also felt quite amazed. The female succubus beside her also thought highly of Shiyu. She felt that this was the genius the race wanted. Unfortunately, he was part of the Space Emperor and the others' race. It's all because the seniors are old that we juniors have a chance. If it were their peak, I definitely wouldn't have any hope, Shiyu said humbly with a smile. Shiyu's words earned the approval of the Angel and the Phoenix men. They looked at Shiyu's ridiculously young appearance and couldn't tell at all from his appearance that he was the strongest being on the planet. Although this planet was already broken like a low-level planet, it was still a quasi-high-level planet that had produced several top-notch gods and defeated 3 super divine invaders. How could the strongest beast tamer look like this? The current situation on the blue planet is that the sleeping ancient gods are gradually waking up and the new generation of geniuses is gradually growing. Although it might take a while to recover to their previous state, without the threat of the outside world, it's only a matter of time. Those invaders shouldn't descend to the blue planet again, right? Is there any news of them in the universe? The World Tree clone asked. Zealand smiled and said, "In the starry sky of the universe, planets are the life forms that contain the greatest resources. Low-level planets that can't give birth to divine beings might not be worth the effort for powerhouses to invade. The gains from a single invasion may not even outweigh the costs of a long journey. However, it's a different story for intermediate or high-level planets. So much time has passed. The enemies who invaded the blue planet back then might no longer exist or have forgotten the blue planet, but new invaders will definitely be born as the planet upgrades. However, don't worry, with Teacher and the others' current factions, it's completely no problem to protect the blue planet. In the universe, the divine level is also known as the star level, and the super divine level is also known as the radiant sun level. The latter can be understood as an expert as dazzling as a star in the entire starry sky of the universe. There won't be more than 1,000 such experts in the universe. As for Lord Space Emperor and Lord Lin Feng, the two of them once joined forces and killed a super divine life form above their level. Apart from that, a super divine life form was also born among the 5 divine level races that walked out of Blue Planet: the Dragon race, the Phoenix race, the Kirin race, the Angel race, and the Demon race. Even in the starry sky of the universe, the Blue Planet lineage isn't a weak faction, Zealand said. You have to know that there are only 5 lives above the super divine level at the moment. Apart from the 4 universe emperors and that universe overlord, the super divine level is already the strongest in the universe. Therefore, you can rest assured and recover. You can even come into contact with the cosmic civilization and obtain more cosmic resources to complete the evolution. This way, be it the blue planet itself or Teacher and the others who left the blue planet, they can benefit. Teacher and the others should have prepared a planet transfer plan to let you leave this desolate star domain and head to the cosmic sea. There, the laws of the universe are more perfect and more suitable for the evolution of planets. It can be said to be the center of the universe. Of course, this plan might take several decades or even over 100 years to complete. The first priority is for both sides to establish contact through the teleportation keystones. As soon as Zealand finished speaking, the few awakened gods were rather shocked. Having experienced the mythical war, they naturally knew how terrifying the super divine level was. Back then, the 3 super divine level beings almost destroyed the blue planet. They could still accept that one of the 5 large races that walked out of the blue planet could break through to the super divine level, but what did they just hear? 2 humans joined forces and killed a super divine being? In addition, the aliens in front of them were also mysterious and had powerful auras. The god suddenly understood why Goddess Wa brought back the human seed for the blue planet. Its potential was too terrifying. In the universe, humans must be a very powerful race. Could it be that there were humans among the 4 universe emperors or universe overlords? I see, the World Tree clone said. I heard from you just now that you brought 4 teleportation keystones that can lead to a super planet called a World King planet? Chapter 1243, 1243 The Look of the Starry Sky, 3. 1243 The Look of the Starry Sky, 3. At least 4 life forms can go there? That's right. Each teleportation keystone can only be bound to 1 life form. It's a binding tool. Therefore, in theory, a teleportation keystone can only teleport 1 life form over. However, there's also a shortcut, which is to bind the teleportation keystone to humans. This is because the unique contract talent of humans can allow the keystone to treat humans and their contracted targets as a whole. This way, more individuals can enter the World King planet at the same time. Moreover, the generated consumption only depends on the individual's level, making it the most efficient usage for humans. By the way, World King refers to the planet will of the World King planet, a cosmic-level planetary life. Currently, it's the most advanced type of planet in the universe, Zealand explained. At this moment, the few gods on the blue planet couldn't help but stomp their feet again. When they heard that they could use the teleportation keystone to head to some super planet, they were initially quite happy and felt that there was a better environment to increase their strength. However, the other party had only brought 4 teleportation keystones, and they were still bound to a single life form. Binding a transcendent life form meant they could only send 1 individual over. However, binding a human beast tamer could teleport multiple lives over, and the consumption was the lowest. This was unreasonable. The gods were anxious. In the end, the blue planet's will would definitely give it to humans. What about them? Could it be that they had to lower themselves and sign a contract with a human to hitch a ride? At the moment, perhaps only Shiyu was calm. He was very happy to be born a human. I wonder what it takes to activate the teleportation keystone. The World Tree clone asked the most important question. Cosmic crystal, divine-level cosmic crystal. It's a resource that only planetary life forms can absorb the power of the universe to condense. In theory, a divine-level cosmic crystal can allow a level 9 human to teleport to the World King Star one way once. The reason why I used level 9 as an example is that at least a level 9 life form can withstand the burden of teleportation. This is the rule set by Lord World King. If you want to teleport back, you also need a divine-level cosmic crystal. If it's a divine life form, you need a super divine-level cosmic crystal. The stronger the target of the teleportation, the further away from the World King planet, the greater the consumption, and so on. It's worth mentioning that a god who was once at the divine level but was suppressed to a lower level because of the incomplete world is also considered a divine level. If you want to go to the World King planet, you have to consume super divine level resources. As soon as Zealand finished speaking, the 7 awakened gods were even more stunned. The World Tree's heart skipped a beat. Shiyu, who was beside him, took a deep breath. So the method to activate the teleportation keystone was a cosmic crystal. He knew this. Little Z could also condense it. However, the current Little Z couldn't even condense a legendary cosmic crystal, let alone a divine-level cosmic crystal. It was impossible to activate the teleportation keystone. At this moment, when it heard Zealand's words, not only did the World Tree's heart skip a beat, but its vision also darkened. Obviously, condensing a divine-level cosmic crystal wasn't an easy task for the current blue planet. In addition, after Shiyu came to a realization, he was also worried. His expression couldn't help but turn bitter because he wasn't level 9 yet. The lowest usage level of the teleportation keystone was level 9? What a joke! Upon hearing the laws of the World King, Shiyu's heart turned cold. Now, he had yet to reach the level of cosmic crystals and teleportation. He wanted to cultivate. No one could stop him. You should have brought enough cosmic crystals, right? The World Tree clone asked. Zealand said regretfully, actually, we originally brought 5 teleportation keystones and kept them on 5 people, respectively. We also drove on different routes to the blue planet, worried that something would happen during the voyage. In the end, whatever we were worried about came. The cosmic sea is also as unpredictable as the ocean. We encountered a starry sky storm. A teammate was the first to bear the brunt and died in the starry sky, disappearing with a teleportation keystone, so there are only 4 left. And we also consumed a lot of energy because of this accident. Among them, because the energy consumed to sail is also cosmic crystals, not to mention cosmic crystals that can be used on the blue planet. Even the cosmic crystals we need to return to our home have been completely consumed. In addition, we actually also have our own keystone that allows us to freely head to World King planet, but now, because our resources have been exhausted, we can't even teleport to World King planet to find Teacher and the others to ask for cosmic crystals. Therefore, we might have to rely on you, Lord Blue Planet. In theory, we only need 1 piece. At that time, we can take back more cosmic crystals from Teacher. At this moment, the few cosmic beast tamers and cosmic life forms looked at the World Tree clone eagerly. Now, it was all up to the blue planet. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to return home. This godforsaken place. They didn't want to stay for a moment longer. Only by successfully returning could they receive the rewards for this mission from the Space Emperor and the clan. If they couldn't go back, there was nothing left for them. I understand. The World Tree nodded and said, I'll think of a way to get the cosmic crystal. But these for teleportation keystones, the World Tree said, looks like we have to distribute them to humans to maximize the benefits. Chapter 1244, 1244 The Look of the Starry Sky, 4. 1244 The Look of the Starry Sky, 4. Zealand said, "Here's the thing. My suggestion is to distribute them to the strongest humans and let the demigods with the strongest battle power sign an equal contract with them. There are many opportunities on the World King planet. Only by sending them there can we potentially gain greater rewards. The resources on Teacher and the other side aren't very sufficient for this return. It might be a little difficult to rely on them alone in this plan. We also need the experts of the Blue Planet to work hard themselves. Among them, according to Teacher's request, at least 2 of the 5 teleportation keystones have to be assigned to Dong Huang. Little brother Shiyu, do you have any thoughts of exploring the starry sky?" Zealand asked Shiyu with a smile. "Of course," Shiyu said. 11, who was on his shoulder, also cried out. It felt even more motivated. Teacher and the others will definitely be very happy to see a young genius like you. You became the strongest beast tamer on the Blue Planet at such a young age. After arriving at World King Planet, your improvement speed will definitely be faster," Zealand said. "According to what I know, there's still a significant gap between the cultivation systems on the Blue Planet and those of the human race in the starry sky of the universe. Therefore, you still have a lot of room for improvement. Your future is promising." Shiyu? Was she implying that he was very lousy now? Is there anything different? Shiyu couldn't help but ask. The Phoenix Man beside Shiyu looked at him and said, "Beast tamers on the Blue Planet should only have one beast taming ability, right? Lord Space Emperor and Lord Lin Feng seemed to be like this at the start." Shiyu and the others were stunned. Could it be? In the Cosmic Sea, humans can cultivate freely. Although their cultivation speed and final battle power are inferior to other races, they are the race with the best strength system. In the words of the Blue Planet, a beast tamer can rely on himself to cultivate 2, 3, 4, 5, or even 10 types of beast taming talents. Apart from being born with beast taming talents, they can also rely on themselves to cultivate additional talents the day after tomorrow to assist in contracting the target or strengthening themselves. For example, Captain Zealand, the strongest among the few of us, developed for beast taming talents in depth. Among them, she has even cultivated spatial strengthening talent to the level of a quasi-divine skill. On a low-level planet, she should be able to easily trigger the sound of laws and strengthen an ordinary totem-level spatial life form to possess the power of a demigod. If used with other beast-taming talents, its battle power will be even stronger. The Phoenix Man even looked at the Star Dragon. This big guy had quasi-divine skills. Coupled with Zealand, it should be a crushing battle power for the life forms on this planet. He felt that it was the limit for the demigods of this planet to have 2 quasi-divine skills. If there were more, they would be severely suppressed by the laws of the world and couldn't advance further. Zealand smiled and said, "Teacher taught me well." When the Phoenix Man finished speaking, Shiyu was stunned. A beast tamer can have dozens of beast taming talents. Isn't this purely cheating? Multiple beast taming talents? Quasi-divine level beast taming talent? Then, isn't this considered invincible? Shiyu couldn't help but say. The ancient god Golden Bull and the other gods looked at Shiyu. Holy shit, wasn't this talking about Shiyu? In their opinion, Shiyu's telepathy, the World Tree domain, and the Taiji domain that could trigger the sound of laws were no different from multiple beast taming talents. This was also why they felt that Shiyu was more monstrous than other beast tamers. So such beast tamers were everywhere in the starry sky of the universe? However, why was Shiyu so shocked? This little girl could only activate. Buzz! A terrifying energy eruption that was indeed stronger than 11 and the others alone shook the entire Blue Planet. However, facing the huge panda that leaped over with a huge millstone in hand, they were still extremely nervous. Profundity, Featherfall Star. The Phoenix Man gritted his teeth. His body spun 360 degrees in the air, and his wings flew. Blue and red starlight bloomed, and like the speed of light, it also triggered the sound of multiple laws. Light, fire, and bloodline divine techniques astonishingly formed the essence of the 3-law quasi-divine skills. Beneath the swirling wings, they now resembled falling stars, carving a tricolored light trace across the void, incredibly dazzling and magnificent. They collided with the 11 strikes from the yin-yang millstone wielded in hand. Boom! The collision of mountains and seas and shocking stars immediately caused space to shatter, shattering the Taiji domain as if it was pulling both parties into another world. What exactly is this? Zilan looked at the shattered Taiji domain fragment and found it unbelievable. President Lin said, Shiyu's beast-taming talent developed a second time through telepathy, psychic domain. Zilan was shocked. You mean he developed other talents on the basis of only one telepathy talent? How was this possible? Even the geniuses in the universe developed other talents through the cultivation methods passed down. Where did Shiyu get the cultivation methods on this planet? Zilan was stunned. Moreover, it was a level 8 talent that had cultivated to the divine level. Could it be that they're telling them that Shiyu was really a peerless genius? His talent even far exceeded that of the Space Emperor and Lin Feng. Roar! Damn it! In the incomparably violent collision, this was the first time Shiyu and the others suffered in such an all-out state. 11's painful roar came from the shattered spatial tide. Although the yin-yang millstone created by the ultimate combination of it, Shiyu, and Ling sent the Phoenix Man flying, 11's own yin-yang millstone was also shattered by the other party. Chapter 1251, 1251 The alien's mentality collapsed, 6. 1251 The alien's mentality collapsed, 6. As the yin-yang millstone was still incomplete, it couldn't successfully obliterate and destroy the other party's divine skill profundities. In the collision of power, it was slightly inferior. The Phoenix Man was sent flying, and 11 was flipped over and rolled backward. Both parties suffered a certain amount of backlash. To be precise, the backlash on Shiyu and the other side was more serious. Even though 11 had the indestructible golden body, the backlash was still very serious. However, the Phoenix Man wasn't happy at all. What was left was a face filled with collapse and disbelief. He felt the pain in his body and the surrounding environment. He instantly understood that he had already been pulled into another domain. He had almost forgotten that this wasn't a one-on-one battle between him and the black and white bear at all. Shiyu still had a bunch of pets that had yet to attack. Roar! In the creation domain, the green dragon, Buggy, occupied the starry sky and stared at the ground with its dragon eyes. On the ground, spring instantly overflowed. Countless plants grew lushly, and the plant slowed down 11's impact and made it slowly roll to a stop. It had already used up the power of faith it carried. At this moment, Buggy could only use the power of faith drifting on the blue planet with the creation domain. The green dragon's power of faith was divided into 3 parts. One was the power of faith carried on by the antiques he had collected from various spaces on the blue planet. This had always been carried by Buggy, but it had already been used up when fighting the gods of Dragon Palace City previously. After this was gone, Shiyu and the others still had the power of faith of the green dragon lingering around the various life forms on the blue planet to use, as well as the power of faith of the green dragon in Little Z's body. There were still too few in Little Z's body, and Shiyu had always been reluctant to use the ones of the blue planet. However, when he recalled that he had just destroyed the tyrant Dragon King and that the power of faith in the Dragon Man Empire was about to belong to him, Shiyu felt a little more generous. Yi! Are you all right? The Divine Tree Ginseng Emperor controlled the plants to catch 11. Through the kindness of the world, it combined Buggy's spring law and revived 11. Woo! Revival! 11 instantly revived to full health. It pressed down on the ground and crawled up, looking excitedly at the Phoenix Man, who was still flying backward in the sky. The cosmic beast tamer was so strong. It still wanted to continue. 11 and Shiyu thought so, but the Phoenix Man didn't feel that he was strong at all. As he forcefully stopped flying backward, he looked at the huge green dragon in the sky in shock. Roar! The dragon breath that contained lightning fire triggered the power of destruction and spat at the Phoenix Man. Boom! Under the touch of the sound of laws, he was stunned again. This domain was undoubtedly created by it. Looking at this creation domain condensed from the power of faith, a few words appeared in his and the star Phoenix's minds. Faith in a quasi-divine skill, the law of creation? This is the green dragon? Impossible! How can someone nurture a green dragon of this level in this place? He exclaimed. Their figures were instantly drowned by the dragon's breath, but at the critical moment, the wings turned into a huge light ball that wrapped around their bodies. The star-like light ball and dragon breath kept squeezing. Unfortunately, in the end, the dragon breath still couldn't suppress the light ball. But even so, the aftermath of the violent explosion produced by both parties still sent the Phoenix Man flying again, leaving them covered in injuries. Holy shit! At this moment, sensing Buggy's godlike dignity in the sky, the Demon King Dragon and the others were stunned. The law of creation? They knew that Shiyyu's Green Dragon's power of imagination had a chance of advancing to the law of creation, but in the end, did it really succeed? That meteorite attack was already terrifying, but now this creation domain. They looked around and realized that they couldn't break through it at all with their strength. They couldn't help but be even more shocked. However, Zilan was even more stunned than them. She raised her hand and pointed at the green dragon shakily. Green dragon. How did he nurture it? The Gem Cat Girl discovered the abnormality and said, wait a minute, does the cosmic beast tamer also know about the green dragon? Zilan was speechless. The green dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise are all suspected to be 4 cosmic life forms from the last cosmic era. No one knows if they exist, but there are many ruins related to the 4 saints in the universe. Archaeology discovered a large number of antiques that contain the power of the 4 saints and the power of faith of Elder Gu. Therefore, many lives in the cosmic sea are evolving towards these 4 lives. The faith of the green dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise is everywhere in the universe. Blue Planet also has it. I'm not surprised. It's just that the green dragon that has mastered the laws of creation is very rare. It's already considered quite perfect in evolution. Even in the universe, a green dragon of this level is rare. How did they do it? Zilan found it unbelievable. Even if it was Lord Lin Foam with the evolution talent, it probably wasn't easy to raise and evolve a green dragon of this level. As Zilan finished speaking, the gods, President Lin, and the others were shocked. There were also 4 holy beasts in the universe. Moreover, it was suspected to be a cosmic life form from the last cosmic era. There were still many ruins? Could it be that there are some special ruins on the blue planet that contain the divine power of the green dragon? Zilan only thought of the possibility that Shiyyu could nurture a green dragon of this level. However, she was only half right. Shiyyu didn't come into contact with any ruins that contained the divine power of the green dragon on the blue planet, but on Earth. At the moment, the most important thing was still the battle. The power Shiyyu displayed consecutively had already completely made Zilan fall silent. Be it divine-level talent or the creation green dragon pet, they were extremely unbelievable. Chapter 1252, 1252 The alien's mentality collapsed, 7. 1252 The alien's mentality collapsed, 7. Was he really a level 8 beast tamer from a low-level planet? She and the Star Dragon looked at the Phoenix Man's miserable state and were speechless. However, the Phoenix Man was indeed powerful. If it were a demigod from the blue planet, even if it was an awakened god, those 2 moves just now would easily cause him to be insta-killed. From the shocked expressions of the ancient god Golden Bull and the others, it could be seen how terrifying Shiyyu's attack was. However, he still survived. The Phoenix Man, who looked like he had only suffered a portion of his injuries and couldn't even be considered a fatal injury, felt that the pressure was huge. After stabilizing his body, he looked at the panda that had been heavily injured by him and revived by that tree baby. His mentality collapsed slightly. Damn it, at this moment, the Phoenix Man realized that the green dragon and the panda weren't to be trifled with. He immediately locked onto Susu, who was closer. Firstly, it was because Susu was the closest. Secondly, of the energy fluctuations, Susu and Shiyyu's fluctuations were the weakest. It was unrealistic to directly attack Shiyyu. Shiyu was protected at the back, so they chose to start with Susu and defeat them one by one. The Phoenix Man had a beautiful plan in mind and wanted to defeat Shiyu and the others one by one. If Shiyu's 6 pets were only at the level of the Gem Cat, the Phoenix Man's plan would definitely succeed. However, the problem was that the battle power specifications of Shiyu and the others had already exceeded those of ordinary demigods. Among the 4 totem-level pets, the weakest Susu was also the strongest demigod on the blue planet previously. Although the battle power of every individual was inferior to it, when combined, they could suppress him, preventing him from breaking through Shiyu's lineup. He could only passively act like a rubber ball and couldn't find a breakthrough. Featherfall Stars. The Phoenix Man used the final profundity again and attacked Susu. These 3 quasi-divine skills and the move strengthened by the 3 beast-taming talents couldn't even be withstood by 11, who was enhanced by Shiyu, let alone Susu. However, imagination was very beautiful, but the reality was very cruel. Ooh? Seeing someone attempting to attack her close sister, Kai Tong's sword in hand flashed and shot out, resonating like thunder and constantly expanding and spanning the void. In an instant, it transformed into 4 sword projections suspended in the sky. The 4 sword clones of Immortal Slaying, Immortal Killing, Immortal Extermination, and Immortal Trap formed the Immortal Slaying sword formation and trapped the Phoenix Man's attack. Sword lore that contains many changes. Sensing that he was trapped, the Phoenix Man didn't panic. This move was much weaker than the black and white millstone. He could even shatter that, and this could also be easily broken. Boom! The sword formation trembled, and cracks appeared on the 4 divine sword phantoms. The Phoenix wings penetrated the sword formation under the shadow of the myriad swords and continued to attack Susu. In the blink of an eye, he widened his eyes. I'm coming! Kai Tong, who was standing on the vermilion bird, had unknowingly arrived behind Susu in the form of a blue sea sprite and pressed its palm on its shoulder. Susu pursed its lips and nodded. The huge vermilion bird clone immediately turned into the vermilion bird divine fire and flowed into the water elemental body. The red and blue light was extremely dazzling, wrapping Kai Tong and Susu together. Shockingly, Kai Tong had used possession on Susu. It fused its power with Susu's power. Water and fire possession, are you crazy? The Phoenix Man who attacked didn't stop, but he had a ridiculous thought. This was because the energies that countered each other were extremely difficult to coordinate. The higher the level, the more it was like this. Perhaps at a low level, it could still rely on its powerful crowd control to complete the interlocking combination skill, but the water element elemental and fire element undead in front of it both had demigod-level battle power. In theory, it was impossible to fuse the strongest quasi-divine skill and achieve an explosive increase in battle power. But in the next moment, the Phoenix Man's expression changed. The blue and red lights on Susu's and the others' bodies flourished. Under the light, a Taiji painting formed by water and fire actually appeared. With a roar, Kai Tong and Susu's fusion seemed to have undergone a qualitative change in life. Boom! A moment later, a water element general with red hair and eyes appeared in front of everyone with a fire sword in hand. At the same time, a divine sword fused with water and fire condensed in their hands. The vermilion bird divine fire, sea cleansing spirit, and interlocking sword. The fusion of fire and water was indeed a very difficult operation. It could even succeed at this moment. The Gemini silver armor back then and General Mu Huain's interlocking sword were no longer the most important factors. That was the cultivation result of Shiyu assisting Kai Tong and Susu in practicing many times through the Taiji domain. All of this added up was the reason why they could successfully combine and easily slash out an attack that exceeded the limits of both parties' attacks. Kai Tong and Susu's combination attack collided with the Phoenix Man's Phoenix wings. At the same time, Shiyu and Buggy underwent a spirit connection and mental resonance. It activated the Taiji domain again. With Buggy's cooperation, it activated the Taiji domain in its creation domain. Domain fusion. As if the world had just opened, the power of the red and blue Taiji painting fused into General Mu Huain's body, formed by Kai Tong and Susu, raising their strength to the extreme. On Susu's side, the sound of laws spread. That was the cleansing law of the ocean. On Kai Tong's side, it was the burning of the fire of faith. The intersection of water and fire of quasi-divine skills and faith skills instantly erupted with extremely dazzling power. Under the shocked expression of the Phoenix Man, he was sent flying like a tennis ball with a boom. His body was cleansed and burned in the explosion. But the three attacks of the mind, spirit, and physical body made the Phoenix Man's eyes turn white. He was just about to explode and launch a counterattack when he felt the energy in his body suddenly roll. Chapter 1253, 1253 The alien's mentality collapsed, 8. 1253 The alien's mentality collapsed, 8. It was actually a little unaccustomed to the environment. An enfeebling power surged into its body. It was surprisingly the aftermath of starry sky travel and the descent to a low-level planet. It was unknown if it was really uncomfortable or if Ling's divine skill of luck had an effect, making the Phoenix Man's movement stiffen for a long time. Roar! When 11 leaped over, the huge red and blue Taiji world suddenly turned into a black and white Taiji world again. 11 held the dazzling yin-yang millstone and directly smashed it onto the Phoenix Man, smashing them into the ground from the sky. This time, the Phoenix Man's eyes really turned white. He spat out a mouthful of blood and fell like a star. From the beginning to the end, he was being kicked like a rubber ball by Shi Yu and the others. President Lin, the Gem Cat, and the 7 gods opened their mouths wide and looked at the Phoenix Man who was ruthlessly suppressed. Their hearts skipped a beat. Shi Yu was the strongest on the blue planet, while the Phoenix Man was a cosmic genius. In their eyes, they were all very strong. At this moment, seeing the Phoenix Man ruthlessly suppressed by Shi Yu, an indescribable emotion appeared in their hearts. Shi Yu, this monster, could even beat up a genius in the universe like this? What a joke! Take it easy and don't kill them. Below, the world ginseng rooted in the ground realized that it was finally time for it to appear. However, at this moment, Zilan suddenly shouted with a serious expression. Wait, this is the end. He lost? This is the ocean faith god and the vermilion bird? A combination of quasi-divine skills and faith skills? She had a serious expression. What a joke! Cough, cough. In the sky, the falling Phoenix Man suddenly divided into two, turning into 2 landing trajectories. The human was all right, but the star Phoenix was directly covered in scales and injuries. It was very miserable. 11's last attack directly obliterated the defense layer on the Phoenix Man in the enfeebled state and completely heavily injured them. Boom! The 2 figures landed and fainted. The scene was silent. Who? Shi Yu was also opposite him, panting slightly. Then I won't fight. Baby Ginseng, heal. Ling exited the loading mode. Baby Ginseng fell into deep thought. Sister Zilan, I won. Remember the bet. Shi Yu stood on the spot. After a moment of silence, he smiled and thought for a moment. He suddenly felt that the beast tamers in the universe didn't seem to be that difficult to fight. However, it wasn't that easy. In a one-on-one situation, Shi Yu felt that it would be very difficult. As long as he leveled up to level 9, there might be hope. Moreover, the Phoenix Man shouldn't be a powerful figure. At least, he was definitely inferior to Zilan. The faction of the Space Emperor and Senior Lin Feng could be seen as a super-divine faction. It was definitely not a large faction in the universe. With this in mind, Shi Yu took a deep breath and became even more serious. If he wanted to go to the universe, he had to make more preparations. Otherwise, at that time, he definitely wouldn't be able to defeat anyone. I understand, Zilan's expression was solemn, and her heart was shocked. Even she would have to spend some effort to defeat Qi Mu and Feng Ju. What was wrong with this Shi Yu? Was he a monster? She really didn't expect the other party to be defeated by a lower-level opponent. If the people on the floating planet knew, there would definitely be a huge shock. On the ground in the distance, the Phoenix Man trembled and moved his finger. he no longer believed in the nonsense of easily suppressing enemies on a lower-level planet. The battle in the East Sea shook the planet again. For example, the Dragon God, who had returned to Dragon Palace City, and the World Tree, who was just about to condense a cosmic crystal, were shocked. What? The World Tree was shocked. Sensing the familiar battle fluctuations, it immediately felt a headache. It understood that Xiaoyu and the others had caused trouble. In order to avoid any accidents, it immediately ran over to see what was going on. Then, it saw the scene of the Phoenix Man being suppressed and beaten up by Xiaoyu the whole time. It saw the scene of the so-called alien genius basically being unable to fight back against Xiaoyu and being defeated by someone below his level. The World Tree fell into deep thought. That was it? In the west, in the Demon Kingdom, the female succubus and another female beast tamer were like high and mighty queens. They sat in the palace of the Demon Kingdom and communicated with the demon demigod and the fallen angel prince below. At this moment, the demigod and the fallen angel prince looked at them in extreme shock. They didn't expect that the guest from outer space this time was actually a descendant of the demon god race that had left the mythical era. Sensing the terrifying pressure on their bodies that was comparable to a god, the fallen angel father and son were pleasantly surprised and afraid. Don't worry, we won't eat you. We only came back this time to bring the clansmen of the blue planet to the universe. The female succubus smiled calmly. We've already communicated with the blue planet's will. Next, you just have to cooperate with us. By the way, do you know Xiaoyu? The female succubus asked. Because Xiaoyu was praised by the World Tree as the strongest beast tamer on the blue planet, they definitely had to know more about him. Lord, I know. Upon hearing the other party mention Xiaoyu, the two fallen angel father and son were first shocked. Then, they said, he should be the strongest beast tamer on the blue planet at the moment. Not long ago, he defeated two abyss demigods in a battle. Very powerful. I see. That's not bad, the female succubus said. Don't worry, as long as you do things seriously, your strength can surpass him sooner or later. I believe you. The fallen angel prince looked at the incomparably beautiful succubus queen in front of him excitedly and almost wanted to offer its loyalty. Chapter 1254, 1250 for the aliens' mentality collapsed, 9. 1250 for the aliens' mentality collapsed, 9. The female succubus smiled and said, although Xiaoyu is very strong in your eyes, he's completely insignificant in the starry sky of the universe. For example, in our team this time, even the weakest angel man can crush him. Don't you think so, Lily? She looked at the woman beside her. Wu, the other alien, nodded in confusion. Weren't they the weakest? Regarding their words, the demon demigod couldn't deny it. It had already decided to cozy up to this group of aliens ruthlessly. This group of people was indeed very strong. Just looking at them made it feel powerless to resist. This was something it didn't even feel when facing those demigod-level awakening gods. He felt that even those gods would be insta-killed by the demon woman in front of him. Was the extraterrestrial civilization really so terrifying? But at this moment... Boom! In the east, the battle fluctuations of another space were also transmitted here, causing the entire demon kingdom to tremble and shocking the demon demigod. At this moment, the female contractor also quickly got up and looked into the distance in disbelief. We've lost contact with Qi Mu and Feng Ju. They should have lost consciousness. What happened? In order to avoid any accidents, the few team members heading to the blue planet had built telepathy in advance. If an accident happened on one side, the other parties could sense it. An accident? What could happen on the blue planet? The female succubus couldn't understand. There's no need to be nervous. Just as the succubus queen of the demon kingdom, the angel man of Rongguang, and the others sensed that something had happened to the Phoenix man, Zilan's heavy voice sounded, and she immediately explained. I just got Qi Mu to spar with Xiaoyu. I just didn't expect him to lose. Keep a low profile and don't be too arrogant. The blue planet is filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. This Xiaoyu is very strong. How is that possible? The female succubus and the others spoke in unison, unable to believe what they were hearing. What a joke! What exactly happened over there? How could Shiyu defeat the Phoenix Man? Among the four of them, although the Phoenix Man's strength ranking wasn't at the top, he could still be ranked third, even stronger than their demon combination. If the Phoenix Man lost, didn't that mean that they weren't a match for the strongest beast tamer on Blue Planet? Lord, what happened? The fallen angel prince asked carefully. The female succubus suddenly looked at it and asked, "Let me ask you, what's wrong with that Shiyu? Is his battle power really as simple as defeating two demigods?" Under the terrifying demon pressure, the fallen angel prince was shocked. Lord, that's his latest battle information. He improved too quickly. He became the strongest in just 4 years after becoming a beast tamer. We don't know how much strength he's hiding. By the way, when he defeated the two demigods, he should still be a level 8 beast tamer. If he breaks through to the legendary level, he might become stronger. Upon hearing that, the female succubus was stunned. He had only been a beast tamer for 4 years, but he had become the strongest on a planet? What kind of cosmic joke was this? I want his detailed information, another alien immediately said solemnly. The Demon Kingdom naturally gathered information about Shiyu. Soon, the female succubus and the others obtained the information they wanted. They wouldn't have known if they hadn't looked at it, but they were immediately shocked. Because there was a line that surprisingly said that at the level of a level 6 beast tamer, he had activated the divine level talent that triggered the sound of top-notch laws and assisted his pet in defeating the enfeebled divine spirit that had fallen to the overlord level. He mastered a divine level talent at level 6. The female succubus widened her eyes and received the information with a look of disbelief. Her breathing quickened. How could a human reach this level? She didn't believe that this was a Blue Planet person. Why are you guys fighting again? The World Tree wanted to cry now. When it sent Shiyu and the others away, it clearly saw that Shiyu was very obedient and was very close to this group of aliens. Why did they fight in the blink of an eye, and Shiyu even beat him up? It took on Baby Ginseng's mission and treated Shiyu, the others, and the Phoenix Man. Cough, cough. The Phoenix Man and the Star Phoenix crawled up with depressed expressions. They looked at Shiyu with incomprehensible gazes. I requested it, but I wanted to see little brother Shiyu's strength. Then, I didn't expect. Zilan was silent. She didn't expect them to be played instead. She had just bragged about how powerful the alien beast taming system was, but in the blink of an eye, their people were beaten up by a lower-level opponent. If this news spread, no one would probably believe it. Well, Shiyu's strength is indeed not bad. The World Tree didn't deny it. Now, it had already placed its hope of the Blue Planet's rise on Shiyu. It felt like Shiyu should be a mutant. It should be atavistic. It felt like his talent potential was much stronger than that of ordinary Blue Planet people now. It was definitely comparable to the batch of human seeds that Goddess WA brought back at the start. His strength is all right, right? The World Tree was very excited to see Shiyu beat up the aliens. It suddenly felt like cosmic civilizations were only SOSO. As expected of my child. The corners of Zilan's mouth twitched. It was all right. Considering Shiyu's age, he was simply a monster, all right? The group of them was already close to 40 years old, while Shiyu was only in his early 20s. Its potential couldn't be said to be small. Chapter 1255, 1255 The alien's mentality collapsed, 10. 1255 The alien's mentality collapsed, 10. Now, he could fight a level 9 opponent. When he reached level 9, he would be even more impressive. Cough, cough, why, what's with your divine level talent? And your green dragon? The Phoenix Man was unconvinced by his loss. He should have been the one with a higher cultivation system, but in the end, Shiyu made his mentality collapse. I also want to ask. Logically speaking, Blue Planet shouldn't have such a cultivation system. Your green dragon cultivation speed also far exceeds some green dragon faith factions in the starry sky of the universe. Zilan was curious. I just heard that there are also 4 holy beasts in the starry sky of the universe, right? Shiyu looked at them. The Phoenix Man? He wasn't even fully focused on the battle? Well, they're suspected to be universe gods from the last era, Zilan said. Shiyu said, when I was in archaeology, I accidentally entered a ruin. These powers are all related to that ruin, but I've only entered it once and couldn't crack it. I don't know anything more. Zilan was stunned. What, you're also an archaeologist? President Lin said, Shiyu should be the most outstanding archaeologist on the blue planet. Zilan was very surprised. Archaeologists are also a very popular profession in the universe, especially those archaeologists qualified to explore the ruins of the last era. They are all targets of competition by the various large factions. Meow, the gem cat girl was stunned. Space ruins. She was silent for a moment before looking at Shiyu, whose eyes were shining. She kept feeling that something was about to be wreaked by Shiyu again. As everyone knows, the lifespan of the universe is only 10 billion years. Every 10 billion years, the universe will restart and start a new cosmic era. At that time, basically no life form can live to the next cosmic era, including cosmic life forms. However, when the universe restarts, there will be some special places that will become cosmic ruins in the form of cosmic spatial fragments and appear in a new era. Exploring these cosmic ruins can often yield very shocking secrets. It's said that the current Cosmic Supreme Master, that Cosmic Overlord, likes to collect and explore cosmic ruins very much. I understand. You definitely accidentally entered the cosmic ruins of the last cosmic era and came into contact with some special divine power, Zilan said. She felt that she had finally deduced why Shiyu was so strong. This guy was the chosen one, a super lucky person. He actually accidentally entered the Green Dragon ruins of the last cosmic era and even archaeologically carried divine-level power. At the side, the Phoenix Man was also stunned. Was this for real? What kind of F***king dogshit luck was this? An archaeologist from a low-level planet accidentally entered the ruins of a cosmic god from the last cosmic era and even obtained benefits. Everyone was stunned when they heard Zilan's deduction, including Shiyu himself. He fell into deep thought. He felt that there were even more enigmas about his transmigration. If those large factions know that you've entered the cosmic ruins, they'll definitely be willing to nurture an archaeologist like you. In fact, even if you serve that cosmic overlord, there's a high chance. However, exploring cosmic ruins is still too dangerous. Even if one reaches the super divine level, there are countless people who die in cosmic ruins. According to what I know, the ancestor of the blue planet's Kirin race explored the ruins of the universe back then and was the first to die. Therefore, archaeologists are also a high-risk profession, Zilan said. World Tree? Why was the Kirin the first to die again? No way, Shiyu muttered, speaking of which, the cosmic ruin you're talking about. Zilan said, Are there many of them? Shiyu said. Are there any less dangerous trial-type ruins? I like this kind. World Tree and President Lin? Shouldn't this kid think of a way to let the blue planet rise after entering the starry sky? Why was he thinking about the cosmic ruins again? Chapter 1256, 1256 The Dragon God Abdicates, Buggy Ascends, 1. 1256 The Dragon God Abdicates, Buggy Ascends, 1. Green Dragon, Cosmos God. As Shiyu and the others were chatting, a voice sounded. The battle just happened above the sea area of Dragon Palace City. The Dragon God naturally sensed it long ago. She revealed her figure and appeared beside the gem cat. They had clearly heard some of Shiyu and the others' conversation just now. Senior Dragon God, you're here too, President Lin Xiao immediately said when he saw this. Senior Dragon God, it shouldn't have affected Dragon Palace City, right? I especially got Buggy to activate its domain, Shiyu couldn't help but say when he saw the Dragon God come out. Phoenix Man? Was he being polite? He was still controlling the battle fluctuations? Also, Buggy? he looked at the green dragon in the sky. This was the name for the green dragon that had evolved to this level. How could he do this? If he were the green dragon, he would definitely rebel. Buggy, 0.0. Of course, it's affected, the dragon god said. Shiyu, then it's all right. How's the situation in Dragon Palace City? The dragon god said, it's all thanks to Lord World Tree. The injured have all recovered, the dead have all revived, and the damaged buildings have completely recovered. The World Tree clone said, it's only right. In addition, I also blessed these creatures. It'll be easier for them to break through the bottleneck next. This is, Zilan looked at the dragon god and thought for a moment before saying, Senior Dragon God of Dragon Palace City? The dragon god nodded slightly and looked at this cosmic beast tamer. Zilan said excitedly, Hello, Senior Dragon God. I'm a disciple of the Space Emperor. Teacher asked me to greet you and invited you to go to the Cosmic Sea if you have the chance. The seniority of the dragon god was relatively high. Be it the Space Emperor, Divine Source Legendary, or Lin Feng, they were all considered juniors who had obtained the help of the dragon god. If there's a chance, yes. The dragon god nodded. They also felt that it was unbelievable. So the previous starry sky fluctuations were actually sent by the Space Emperor and Lin Feng. I just heard that the green dragon is suspected to be a cosmic god from the last cosmic era. Is that true? The dragon god said. That should be the case. Although they're all archaeological discoveries, it's basically the consensus of cosmic civilization, the star dragon said. The dragon god looked at Shiyu and Buggy and said, Shiyu, are you interested in the position of dragon god in Dragon Palace City? With my current strength, I might no longer be able to manage Dragon Palace City. Why don't I leave this position of dragon god to that little guy? Cosmos god, green dragon, it's not a disgrace to the inheritance left behind by the ancestral dragon. Roar? The green dragon, Buggy, was stunned. Ah, really? It's not impossible, Shiyu said. President Lin and the Gem Cat? Why did he agree so quickly? Didn't he know to be polite? Shiyu understood what the dragon god meant. If the other party did this, he could legitimately establish the green dragon faith in Dragon Palace City. If there was still the revival of the ancient divine dragon, with the current strength of the dragon god, it would indeed be impossible to suppress it. Even the dragon god ruins might be occupied. In that case, the dragon dog thought it was better to directly give it to someone she knew. Shiyu was undoubtedly the best choice. No revival god could defeat the green dragon. When the World Tree clone saw this, it was slightly stunned. All right, Shiyu and the others could do whatever they wanted. Even if the ancestral dragon was revived, if it knew that its inheritance Dragon Palace had been occupied by the green dragon, it probably wouldn't have a temper. After all, the green dragon was 2 levels higher than the ancestral dragon. Who would have thought? Perhaps after arriving in the universe, even the ancestral dragon evolved towards the green dragon. Then Buggy, go back to Dragon Palace City with Senior Dragon God. If there's nothing else, don't come back first, Shiyu said to Buggy. The family no longer has money to support you, Buggy. Buggy, roar? Shiyu frowned. Are you stupid? We've never explored the Dragon God ruins before. There's a pile of legendary and mythical resources inside. If there's no food, you can go to Dragon Palace City to find food yourself. Buggy, so that's the case. Then, I'll leave with it first. The Dragon God looked at Buggy and bid farewell to everyone present. Senior Dragon God, I'll visit later, President Lin said. Me too, Zilan and the Phoenix Man said. After that, they also wanted to visit Lin Feng's second team pet. Everyone bid farewell, and the Dragon God brought the excited Buggy to Dragon Palace City to ascend the throne. No matter what Buggy thought, it didn't expect that it would actually go from a green silkworm to the Lord of Dragon Palace City. In Dragon Palace City. After experiencing the Dragon Palace's coup, the revival of casualties, and everything going back, all the creatures were still in a stunned state. Under the Dragon God's command, the few Dragon Kings organized themselves and gathered in the Dragon Palace. Just now, the Dragon God said that there was a big matter to announce. The various Dragon Kings guessed that it should be related to this Dragon Palace coup. At this moment, even the Sea Dragon King, who had run to seek help, still didn't know how the Dragon Palace's coup had been resolved. It didn't understand why those casualties would be directly revived. It should have been Shiyu who helped, the Ice Dragon King said proudly. HMPH, I knew that three-headed guy was over once it dared to hit me. Oh yeah. The little white dragon followed behind the Sea Dragon King and the Azure Dragon King and said happily. It had to be Senior Shiyu. Looks like it should be. When I went to Donghuang, Shiyu wasn't around, but if we could successfully resolve it, Shiyu must have returned. The Sea Dragon King sighed. It wasn't impossible for Shiyu, the Dragon God, Divine Source Legendary, and the others to defeat the three demigods together. At this moment, the Sea Dragon King, Ice Dragon King, Thunder Dragon King, and his son, Gold Dragon King, and his son, as well as the families of the turtle and the little Qua snake, were all present. Chapter 1257, 1257 The Dragon God Abdicates, Buggy Ascends, 2. 1257 The Dragon God Abdicates, Buggy Ascends, 2. The Dragon God had indeed gathered everyone in the Dragon Palace to announce Shiyu and the others' help. However, before she could, she was attracted by the fluctuations of the battle again. This time, the Dragon God simply brought Buggy back. Lord Dragon God is back. In Dragon Palace City, as the world changed color, a huge wave came. The Sea Dragon King looked up at the sky. The figure of the Dragon God slowly descended under the gazes of millions of Dragon Palace's elites. After her, everyone was surprised to discover that beside her was a huge green dragon that occupied the sky and was 1,000 meters long. That's Buggy? Shiyu and the others are here too? Seeing this, the Ice Dragon and the others were slightly stunned. The Golden Dragon Prince and the other second-generation dragons who had been beaten by Buggy were also slightly stunned. However, as the Totem Dragon King sensed the aura on Buggy's body that was even stronger than that of the Dragon God, their pupils couldn't help but shrink in disbelief. At this moment, after the Dragon God descended, she said to the Dragon Palace people, not long ago, the ancient god of the dragon race revived and destroyed the faith of the Green Dragon to fight for the position of the Dragon God, causing Dragon Palace City to be in chaos. In the face of three revived gods, my strength isn't enough to protect Dragon Palace City. Fortunately, the matter was resolved. Now, the three awakened divine dragons are all suppressed by the new Dragon God. From today on, I will abdicate and cultivate bitterly. The new Dragon God will be the contracted green dragon of the Minister of Environmental Protection of Dragon Palace City, Shiyu. Its strength has already exceeded mine. Not only did it suppress three ancient gods, but it also suppressed the new demigod of the Dragonman Empire, the Tyrant Dragon King, and the Western Dragon Empire's Lord Black Dragon Lord. With it leading Dragon Palace City can definitely become stronger. From today onwards, it is the new Dragon God of Dragon Palace City. Roar! From today onwards, I'm the Dragon God. The Green Dragon, Buggy, roared in the air. As expected of it. After the Dragon God finished speaking, the Dragon Palace people suddenly fell silent and were stunned. The eldest prince, the second prince, and the third prince looked at Buggy in a daze. What? The position of Dragon God was gone? Huh? The little white dragon looked at Big Brother Buggy in extreme shock, not understanding why Big Brother Buggy, who was still a butterfly 2 years ago, had become the new Dragon God. Even if it defeated the eldest prince, it was too exaggerated to go from a human contracted beast to a Dragon God at once and suppress 5 dragon demigods alone. Yuan at Yuan, the Golden Dragon Prince, who had always wanted to take revenge, also looked at the green dragon Buggy in confusion. What did it mean for a dragon to crush 5 dragon demigods? Most of the Totem Dragon Kings present were stunned. Oh, damn! The Turtle Prime Minister looked at the bewildered Thunder Dragon King. His own son, Little Turtle, was also cultivating diligently under Shiyu's guidance. In terms of relationships, Little Turtle was classmates with the new Dragon God, and the Turtle Prime Minister was the old man of Little Turtle. So, how should they describe the relationship between him and the Thunder Dragon King going forward? This. The Qua Snake Overlord was also stunned. It didn't expect that Shiyu's contracted beast, which had taken its daughter away, would now become the new dragon god. Of course, the one that felt the most ridiculous was still the Ice Dragon King, who had watched Buggy grow up from the green silkworm. The corners of its mouth twitched as it looked at the green dragon Buggy brought back by the dragon god. Then, it patted its good friend, the Azure Dragon King, beside it. New dragon god. That's my son, the Ice Dragon King said. The Azure Dragon King? The Azure Dragon King and the Sea Dragon King looked at their son, the little white dragon, with disdain. Trash. The little white dragon, huh? Buggy followed the dragon god to Dragon Palace City. After the battle, Shiyu and the others could finally return to Dong Huang. On President Lin's side, there were too many things he wanted to know from Zilan and the others. However, the guests had just arrived after all. In addition, he still had to awaken the Divine Source Legendary. President Lin only prepared a place for them and the 7 gods to rest first. There was no hurry to communicate. For you. At this moment, Shiyu also began to collect the debt. After the ancient god Golden Bull gave the divine level resources he owed to Shiyu, he said, "So Shiyu, let's talk about battle next time. You consumed a lot of energy in the battle just now." All right. Shiyu suspected that the ancient god Golden Bull was afraid. However, seeing that the other party had finally paid the debt, Shiyu didn't care so much. Woo. At this moment, 11, who was on Shiyu's shoulder, looked at the resources given by the ancient god Golden Bull with a surprised expression. This was a white metal gem filled with warpath killing intent. It made 11 feel that it was a divine level resource that could increase the proficiency of his killing wind skill. After eating this, its killing wind skill might be able to increase from transcendent to close to a quasi-divine skill. This is a platinum gem born on the mythical battlefield. It's the core of a metal element mineral vein. I can't bear to use it yet. I'll give it to you, the ancient god Golden Bull said in pain. If embedded in a weapon, it can become a divine weapon. All right. Shiyu smiled in surprise. You go ahead, sir. I'm going to ask for the extraterrestrial cultivation manual. Platinum gem. As he left under the gaze of the ancient god Golden Bull, Shiyu weighed it and said to 11, "It's useless even if you want this thing." 11? You're already a demigod. With the blue planet's current conditions, ordinary divine level resources will only strengthen you a bit. I think it's better to keep it for the cat and see if it can be used. Woo. 11 nodded. All right, he could give it to the gem cat teacher. Let it evolve into a metal cat. It's not the gem cat, but the short-legged gem cat. This can be kept as a white tiger evolution resource, Shiyu said. Teacher Gem Cat is also a demigod. She doesn't lack these resources. Chapter 1258, 1258 The Dragon God Abdicates, Buggy Ascends, 3. 1258 The Dragon God Abdicates, Buggy Ascends, 3. 11 was stunned. A short white tiger. Oh. The 4 spirits of heaven were actually all cosmic gods. Then the cultivation value was undoubtedly even greater. After Shiyu asked for a metal element gem, he decisively went to Zilan. At this moment, the disciple of the Space Emperor, Zilan, had already changed into a long dress in the Dong Huang style. She was waiting for President Lin to call the Void Mantis, Fanglan, and the others related to the Space Emperor over. Before Shiyu could say anything, the other party knew that Shiyu was there to collect a debt. She couldn't help but sigh and hand the concluded cultivation method to Shiyu. This is the development method of 18 talents such as metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, darkness, spirit, and soul space fusion. I originally thought you could use it to increase your enhancement strength, so I planned to give it to you. But now, I actually don't recommend you waste your energy cultivating these additionally. After you obtained benefits from the cosmic ruins, the talent you developed is considered one of the best abilities even on the floating planet. I feel that my divine-level spatial talent is inferior, so it's better for you to devote yourself to that. These abilities are all relatively common. What I can come into contact with won't increase your strength much. Now, I'm afraid only those rarer abilities can increase your strength. However, unfortunately, there are no such abilities on the floating planet. If you want to obtain them, you might have to search for them on the World King planet yourself, Zealand said. There are capable people from various planets gathered there. The abilities they cultivate are strange. Although it's harder to cultivate, it's also stronger and more special. All right. Then it shouldn't be a problem for me to teach these to my friends, right? Shiyu said with a smile. Of course, he also knew that for him, there wasn't much need to cultivate metal element strengthening, fire element strengthening, and water element strengthening talents. However, if he didn't use such a good thing, someone else would. Of course, you can deal with it yourself. It's not anything relatively precious, Zealand said with a smile. Woo 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 woo. As the two of them chatted, in the outside world, spatial ripples flickered. A big black mantis shouted, "Where's the Space Emperor's disciple?" Where? I knew it. The Space Emperor is still alive. Ha 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 ha. I'm going to rise. Chaos Panda, Green Dragon, get down. It was the Void Mantis. Shiyu shrugged. Alright, the most excited ones when the Space Emperor and Lin Feng sent someone back should be the second team pets of the Space Emperor and Lin Feng. At this moment, forget about the demigod level, as long as they contacted Lin Feng. The Sea Dragon King, the Butterfly God, and the others had hope of reaching the divine level. Yo! After the Void Mantis entered, Shiyu greeted it, stunning the Void Mantis and stopping its smile. You guys chat, then I'll leave first. Shiyu smiled and bid them farewell. He took the cultivation method he had obtained and left. After getting Ling to replicate a cultivation method, he got it to distribute one to President Lin, Senior Lu, Senior Panda, and the others. Then, he returned to Ping Cheng and started to sleep. He helped Buggy evolve and activate the Green Dragon domain to fight the 5 demigods and the aliens in the Taiji domain. Even after experiencing the joint treatment of Baby Ginseng and the World Tree, the current Shiyu was still tired. If there were no other big things, he would sleep for 2 days first. 2 days later, Shiyu woke up. At this moment, Zealand had already finished communicating with President Lin and the Divine Source Legendary. Dong Huang could at least be assigned 2 teleportation keystones. Dong Huang's distribution method for these 2 was one for Shiyu and one for the Dragon God. The Divine Source Legendary voluntarily gave up the opportunity to go to the World King planet to break through to the divine level and decided to continue staying on the blue planet to protect Dong Huang and wait for the mythical revival. As for President Lin Xiao, he felt that he couldn't break through to the legendary level in the short term, so he gave up the opportunity to obtain the teleportation keystone. As for the keystone, it was still the most cost-effective ratio for human-beast tamers. Therefore, Shiyu, the most talented figure in Dong Huang and even Blue Planet, definitely had one. However, Shiyu also needed to reach level 9 as soon as possible. As for the remaining piece, Dong Huang decided to give it to the Dragon God. After all, the Dragon God protection had protected Dong Huang for 1,000 years, and the position of the Dragon God had also been passed to Buggy. This gift should be given to her. Although the Dragon God could also be contracted and hitched a ride, because the Dragon God's seniority was too high in Dong Huang, probably no one dared to mention it like this. There's no need to split it so carefully. After Shiyu woke up and learned, he couldn't help but mutter to himself. In any case, after contacting the Space Emperor and the others, he could just ask for a few more. Yes. However, considering that the Space Emperor and the others might not necessarily be very generous, Shiyu felt that it wasn't a big problem for him to think of a way after he entered the World King planet. He had the skill index, so he should still be able to become stronger quickly. The Space Emperor and Lin Feng could both quickly rise in the universe. His achievements on the blue planet far exceeded those of the Space Emperor and Lin Feng. In theory, he should be able to adapt quickly to the universe. At that time, if he could quickly become a super divine, it wasn't impossible for him to let everyone he knew have a teleportation keystone. With this in mind, Xiyu decided to cultivate bitterly first and strive to reach the legendary level before the World Tree condensed a cosmic crystal. However, before that, Xiyu felt that there was one more thing. It was best to do it before the legendary level. To the Dragon Emperor era. After all, after breaking through to the legendary level, the pressure to transmigrate would definitely be even greater. Therefore, after waking up, Xiyu first arrived at Dragon Palace City. At this moment, Buggy was eating and drinking here. It was living too comfortably. However, Buggy still had a conscience and knew to leave many good things for Xiyu and the others. Xiyu didn't come this time for this. Instead, he found Senior Dragon God and said, "Senior Dragon God, are you free? I want to bring you to the spatial ruins to explore." For the Dragon God, going to the Cosmic Sea to obtain the opportunity to climb to a higher realm probably didn't make her care more than returning to the Dragon Emperor era. Now? The Dragon God appeared and took a deep breath. She looked at Xiyu and said, "Are you confident?" "Yes, but according to my research, utilizing the space-time dragon vein for traversal will encounter temporal rejection based on strength. Even if we succeed, we might not be able to stay in that time period for too long. In addition, even if we change the fact that the Dragon Emperor was killed by the remnant soul of a god, it should only evolve into a new parallel space. It won't affect the current situation and revive the Dragon Emperor. Can you accept such an outcome?" The Dragon God was silent for a moment before saying, "It's all right. Even if I only return to the past and don't interfere in anything, I'll be satisfied if you let me understand some of the truth." Xiyu said, "There's no need to be so careful. We can go back and directly kill the remnant soul that harmed the Dragon Emperor. Then, we can destroy the Dragon Empire, the great enemy of the Dragon Emperor dynasty at that time." The Dragon God smiled and said, "Are you sure that what we do isn't breaking the laws of the universe? If there are any maintainers in the universe, we'll probably be punished." Xiyu was stunned. "Don't scare me. In the beginning, you were the one who seduced me into transmigrating into space and time. I've already transmigrated twice. Nothing happened." At the same time, at Ancient Capital University, the Gem Cat girl looked up at the starry sky. She also participated in the previous teleportation keystones distribution meeting. To be honest, she also wanted to go to the starry sky of the universe to take a look, but unfortunately, there were so few teleportation keystones. It would take a while until a hooligan cat like her got a turn. She only hoped that Xiyu could quickly rise in the universe. At that time, Xiyu should give her a keystone and a pile of cosmic crystals. After all, she couldn't run to sign a contract with Xiyu, right? Since she was free, the Gem Cat girl looked up at the starry sky and made a wish with a quasi-divine skill, wanting to be bestowed a teleportation keystone by the heavens. This way, there was no need to beg anyone. The Gem Cat was actually just giving it a try for fun. However, after making the wish, something unexpected happened. In the universe, a spatial crack appeared. Inside, a meteor streaked across. A tool that looked like a wish keystone rode towards the blue planet and landed in Donghuang, Ancient Capital, an Ancient Capital University. The Gem Cat girl stared at the increasingly clear meteor and fell into deep thought. She stretched out her hand and grabbed it in midair. She looked down and fell into deep thought. Damn! No way! The cat was stunned. Her wish skill had also become strange, like the owl's prophecy skill. The Gem Cat looked at the teleportation keystone in her hand and was at a loss. Therefore, was this the keystone brought by the unlucky person from the Kirin race who came to the blue planet with Zilan and the others but died in the starry sky storm, or the keystone that fell into the spatial crack after the battle between the Empress and the Vermilion Bird demigod? The Gem Cat fell into deep thought. Chapter 1259, 1259 Xiyu, Dragon Emperor, Dragon God, 1. 1259 Xiyu, Dragon Emperor, Dragon God, 1. In Dragon Palace City, Xiyu and the Dragon God agreed to set off for the spatial ruins in a day. At that moment, the new dragon god of Dragon Palace City, Green Dragon Buggy, had already carved its statue into a pile of dragon statues. Moreover, it was the most conspicuous position, the center spot. Apart from that, it also created faith clones through the creation domain and spread them all over the Dragon Palace. When it wasn't around, it protected Dragon Palace City. It was similar to the faith clone of the fox god of the heavenly Fox Nation previously. After all, Buggy couldn't stay in the Dragon Palace forever. Cloning to work was clearly the most classic method. As long as the power of faith the Dragon Palace had for it was strong enough, this faith clone could receive the power of many believers and easily defeat demigod-level enemies. 11 and the others were the happiest when Buggy ascended the throne. They enjoyed the delicacies of the Dragon Palace. After a few days, Shiyu's backpack was empty again. The resources he harvested from the Empress era, such as the Sun Flame Flower, were used for Kai Tong's evolution. For example, the wind element Phoenix Heart was packed for Senior Lu. Now, there was only one teleportation keystone left. In the blink of an eye, he was extremely poor. Shiyu had yet to study this teleportation keystone when someone informed him of its usage. He didn't plan to let Ling continue researching, but he didn't plan to keep it in his hand. He wanted to find an opportunity to send it back to the Empress. After all, as long as he contacted the Space Emperor, the blue planet wouldn't lack teleportation keystones. There was no need for Shiyu to use this risky teleportation keystone. This teleportation keystone belonged to the World King planet in another space and time. If he activated the teleportation in this space and time, it would be fine if it could succeed, but if it failed, who knew what the consequences would be? If he died during the teleportation, it would be too much. Since he didn't lack any more, there was no need for Shiyu to take this risk. It was better to keep it for the Empress to use herself. The few of you, if you're full, sleep. Save energy. In the Dragon Palace Hall, Shiyu looked at 11 and the others who were eating unsteadily at the banquet and warned. Woo woo woo, 11 and the other pets lay on the ground, indicating that they understood. They hadn't eaten so full in a long time, but it should only be this time. After all, they could squander extravagantly this time to celebrate Buggy's ascension. If they kept eating like this in the future, Dragon Palace City couldn't afford it. If they ate up the Dragon Palace until it was poor, the Green Dragon believers would have to rebel. After all, food was the priority of the people. Roar! However, Buggy expressed that it wasn't a big problem. Eat more, eat more. Upon hearing that, 11, Baby Ginseng, Little G, and Ducky surrounded it and continued eating crazily. On the other side, Kai Tong, Susu, Ling, Chi, and Little Z looked at these guys speechlessly and shook their heads continuously. Very good. Since these guys were so full, they would be in charge of the next battle. In Dragon Palace City, Shiyu even chatted with the Ice Dragon and the Sea Dragon King for a long time. After learning the information about the starry sky outside, the Ice Dragon was still all right. In any case, it was already alone and had no desires. As long as it could retire steadily in Dragon Palace City under the protection of Shiyu and the others, it would be satisfied. As for the Sea Dragon King, it was extremely excited, almost as excited as the previous Void Mantis. It had been raised by Lin Feng as the Sea Dragon King from a carp. It would be a lie to say that it had no feelings and didn't miss Lin Feng. Unfortunately, after being the Sea Dragon King for so long, it didn't have much ambition. It only wanted to live steadily with its wife. Its only wish was for the little white dragon to become more mature. However, after glancing at the little white dragon beside it, it felt that Lin Feng wouldn't fancy this kid no matter what. It couldn't help but sigh again. After spending the night in Dragon Palace City, Shiyu and the Dragon God began to set off. They transmigrated through the ocean and arrived at the Spacetime Island, the Spacetime Dragon Vein. Shiyu was wearing a modern black and red archaeological suit, a panda holding bamboo hanging from his shoulder. Beside him was a peerless and elegant dragon girl in ancient clothes. Be it in modern or ancient times, they were a strange combination. Squeak! 11 took a bite of the bamboo. 11 had taken this from the Dragon Palace City and couldn't bear to eat it yet. It planned to rely on licking and grinding its teeth to maintain its daily life. When the dragon god saw this, she couldn't help but fall silent. She didn't know when Shiyu's pets would start to care about their image. The demigods on the blue planet weren't so ridiculous. I've already come to study it once previously. I'm confident of activating and controlling the spatial ruins, but I need senior dragon god's cooperation. Don't resist and suppress your strength, Shiyu said. The dragon god nodded and said, all right. With that said, she began to suppress her strength as much as possible and give up all resistance. She was defenseless against the power of the outside world. At this moment, Shiyu had already arrived above the dragon vein. He pretended to close his eyes and pretend to use his talent of listening to the voice of history to communicate with the spatial ruins. Then, he mouthed a strange incantation that the dragon god couldn't understand. For example, something like, I want to be a transmigrator. Grandpa and Grandma are so happy. Give me my favorite cookie. As Shiyu spoke in Chinese, it was normal for the dragon god to not understand. She only felt that it was unfathomable. At the same time, Shiyu used his psychic power to draw a huge time hexagram array like the one on the owl's chest on the ground, wrapping him and the dragon god inside. From the looks of it, Shiyu was working hard to communicate with the space-time dragon vein, but in fact, it was Qi communicating with the power of the dragon vein in Shiyu's beast-taming space, preparing to teleport Shiyu and the dragon god back to the Dragon Emperor era. Chapter 1260 Shiyu, Dragon Emperor, Dragon God, 2. 1260 Shiyu, Dragon Emperor, Dragon God, 2. At the side, the dragon god looked at the serious Shiyu with a burning gaze. In fact, when she first asked Shiyu for help, she didn't have much hope. She didn't think that Shiyu could crack the space-time dragon vein. Although Shiyu had cracked the Blue Sea ruins, the space-time ruins were clearly higher level. However, as Shiyu grew up step by step and became the strongest archaeologist on the Blue Planet, the savior of the Blue Planet appointed by the World Tree, the fire of hope slowly ignited in the dragon god. Can it succeed? The dragon god prayed in her heart. Slowly, pink and white light spread from the space-time dragon vein under the island, surging and sweeping up the time hexagram Shiyu had drawn. Buzz! In the next moment, the power of the space-time dragon vein turned into a domain that wrapped around Shiyu, the dragon god, and the others. With a spatial wave, they directly disappeared from this space-time. 1,100 years ago. On the chaotic and lonely sea. 3 figures appeared out of thin air on this desolate island in pink and white spatial light. The dragon god fell from the sky through teleportation and immediately stabilized her body with a confused expression. Shiyu, on the other hand, was already experienced. He steadily caught 11, pressed it back onto his shoulder, and sized up his surroundings. Senior Dragon God, I succeeded, Shiyu said in surprise. I really succeeded. Qi, disgusted face. We've already returned to 1,000 years ago. Shiyu woke up the Dragon God, who was a little dizzy. At this moment, the Dragon God looked around in disbelief and was shocked by the spatial rejection power. We really succeeded? Of course. I only studied the mere space-time ruins for 2 days before cracking it. However, the energy in the dragon vein might only be able to support us messing around this time, Shiyu said. Qi HMPH, 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 in the ruined space, Qi had dark circles under her eyes. Forget it, whatever Shiyu said. However, the most gossipy thing now was what the Dragon God planned to do and how to face the Dragon Emperor of this era. Of course, Shiyu also shared the gossip news about the Dragon God and the Dragon Emperor with his pets. What would the Dragon God do if it was love that crossed 1,000 years? Kai Tong, Susu, Qi, and the others sat on stools, hugging sunflowers and munching on melon seeds. Beside them was a big watermelon, sharing Shiyu's vision and paying attention to the outside world. Shiyu, the Dragon God, looked at Shiyu and was silent for a long time. I think I better not appear. Can you help me deal with the mythical remnant soul in the ruins Long Qingyun brought? Aren't you going to do it yourself? Shiyu was stunned. Not appear? You won't even see Senior Dragon Emperor? The Dragon God shook her head and said, there's another me in this space and time, but there are no you guys. I don't want to interfere with them because of my appearance, so I'll just quietly pay attention in the dark. Don't tell them my identity either. This, Shiyu massaged his temples slightly. Women were troublesome. However, the situation of the Dragon God was indeed difficult to deal with. It was indeed not a problem for her to transmigrate back and snatch a man from her past self. Even Shiyu felt that it was troublesome. Perhaps the Dragon God also felt that it wasn't suitable, so she planned to only ask him to save the Dragon Emperor and take a look from afar. Actually, we can change our appearance. Right? Shiyu said. Why don't? The Dragon God shook her head. No need, just do as I say. Shiyu? Woo woo woo. 11 patted Shiyu and told him to give up. Women's hearts were like needles at the bottom of the sea. It was better not to care. It stretched out the bamboo in front of Shiyu and asked him if he wanted to take a bite. Give it to me. Shiyu pulled the bamboo over and used his psychic power to strengthen his teeth. Under 11's shocked expression, he took a bite and ate it before putting the remaining bamboo back into the ruins. With his monster physique and physical control, Shiyu could also absorb the nutrition of the metal element bamboo, but his digestion was slower. Eat later. Next, we have to do business. Let's find the Dragon Emperor first, Shiyu said to 11, who was holding out its palm with tears in its eyes. Bamboo! Bamboo! 11 couldn't help but collapse. On this day, 11 recalled the fear of being dominated by the bamboo shoots again. He understood. The team was in a famine. Was Shiyu also a beggar who can't be a chooser? Shiyu and the Dragon God headed straight to Dong Huang. However, just as they advanced halfway, they changed their itinerary and advanced toward Dragon Palace City. They sensed that in the East Sea, a large number of powerful sea creatures were gathering towards Dragon Palace City, as if something big had happened over there. Shiyu captured an overlord old turtle to ask before learning that the Dragon Palace had undergone a coup. The new Dragon God, the Heavenly Sea Divine Dragon, was about to ascend the throne, and the various factions had to pay their respects. Shiyu, the Dragon God, 11, buggy in the beast-taming space. What a coincidence! Could it be that the current time node is that Dong Huang's legendary Emperor and Dragon Emperor have just joined forces with you to overthrow the previous Dragon God's rule of Dragon Palace City, Senior? In theory, Senior Dragon Emperor should also be in the Dragon Palace for this celebration banquet, right? The Dragon God said, well, at this time, I don't have the strength of a demigod yet. I'm only close, but soon, and he's already a legendary beast tamer. For a long time, he's been exploring the ruins of the Dragon Palace to cultivate and staying in Dragon Palace City. Let's go take a look. Shiyu couldn't wait anymore. Not only could he see the Dragon Emperor, but he could also see the Dragon God. At this time, Senior Dragon God should still have a dragon body and had yet to evolve into a human or a dragon girl. Wait. The Dragon God suddenly stopped.